Welcome back to Great Minds Think Alike. I'm Gabby.
And I'm Nick.
And we are so excited to bring this next topic to you guys.
Yes. We're very passionate about today's episode. So you want to let them know what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so the first thing we want to talk about for our lifestyle segment is communication, because I think it is like such a people skill and it really helps aid in any relationship you have.
No, exactly. So communication is something that you can't avoid in life. With a partner, communication can save or break a relationship. Whether you're at work, with your family, communication is everywhere. So mastering that skill will literally excel you in every part of life.
Yeah, then we want to talk about goal setting and scheduling for our business segment and the seasons of real estate.
Exactly. And goal setting, that's another one. So we'll get into it, but when most people think our goals aren't actually goals, and we'll break that down.
So now we're going to get into our lifestyle topic, communication.
Communication.
We just really wanted to highlight 3 effective communication skills. So one would be active listening, like how I'm talking to you right now. Eye contact, body language, facial expressions, like make sure you're engaged in the conversation, first of all.
Yeah, listening is the first step of, communicating. Yeah. It's listening. And, another thing you should think about is the phones, these freaking cell phones that we're all hooked on. It's funny, you could say we're addicted to them. I say dependent because it's like a need at this point. When you're talking to someone and you're conversing, even if you think it's light and you're just checking an email or checking a text, while you're talking to someone, it's just rude.
Yeah, it's so rude.
You just want to give someone your undivided attention. Checking your phone sends them a message that they're only part of what's important to you this second.
And I mean, if you have to send that email in that moment, just say, hey, I'm listening, but I am just actively sending this email or whatever.
Or excuse me, urgent, give me 1 sec. I'm listening, I respect you, but I need to answer this.
Yeah,
and that's much better.
And that is also communicating.
So the second communication skill that we want to talk about is how you say it. So active listening and how you talk, how you deliver the message really matters.
How you say it, you want to get those feelings out, because that's how you release any feelings of like overthinking, resentment, and just anxiety with just confronting that person, but make sure you're doing it in a respectful way.
Yeah, you want to be respectful and considerate because you don't know the perspective on the other side. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know what's happening. So when you make sure you communicate, even if you're frustrated at someone, just understand when you're talking to a human, people want to be treated right.
Yeah.
You could say something, nothing wrong with what you're asking for, but if you say it the wrong way, you're now in the wrong.
So as long as you're being considerate of both parties, being respectful to yourself, getting those words across, but also being respectful of the other person while you're communicating.
Yeah, and another thing is like requests versus demands. And we're working on this in our relationship. Very different when you request something compared to when you demand it.
So when I am all snuggled up in bed and I want a late night snack, I have to say, Nick, can you please get me some ice cream? But if I just bitch at him, he's not going to get it for me.
Exactly. Say, ask nicely.
Learn from experience.
Exactly.
Okay. So, and then the last thing we want to talk about with communication is just being open-minded, because you're going to be able to gain more perspective.
Yep, exactly. Something to be said about someone who could take feedback, who can do something wrong, but be open-minded about their conversation. Say, I shouldn't have said that. Or when someone has a problem with you, instead of being defensive, be like, no, I didn't. Nuh-uh, saying, wow, I didn't realize that. Maybe I can be better. And that's just as important as communicating, as talking.
And feedback may be hard to hear at times, but typically the feedback that you're receiving is going to be from a loved one. And, you maybe need to hear it. So we're not all perfect. You're going to get highlighted on some of the good things you do. You're going to get highlighted on bad things you do as well. But it being pointed out really gives you the grounds for growth.
Yeah, exactly.
And a way we can incorporate balance with this is just making sure that we're listening as much as we're speaking. So, active communication here. I want to listen to you, but I also want you to hear me out.
Yeah, there's balance in communication because it's a balance of listening and communicating and speaking well. Most people say communication, I talk fine. I could talk all day. I could, command a room. That's not it. It's also listening to the room. It's also listening for half the day and talking the other half. So you got to have that balance. One last note on it is, we learned this in school when we're young, but you want to be assertive. It's not good to be passive aggressive, and it certainly isn't good to be aggressive. So when you're communicating, if you're too aggressive, people are going to think you're mean, you're a bitch, you're this, you're not going to get the results you want. When you're passive aggressive, that's 10 times worse, because now not only are you not, big enough to say what you want to say to the person, you're throwing shade, you're causing drama. That's how little work things happen. That's how people get catty behind the scenes if people are passive aggressive to
It's
them.
going to escalate for no reason, and it could have just been solved with just a simple, hey, can you do this?
Yeah, and that's being assertive. You want to get your point across, strongly, but without being aggressive and mean, and without throwing shade, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, screw the little notes around the apartment. Clean this, do the dishes. Like, nope, I'm going to talk to you about it.
That's not communication. Do not leave your partner notes on the sink. Talk to them about it.
I would pew if you did that.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think we're good to get into our business segment. We want to talk on goal setting and how you schedule that.
Yeah, and this is something I love, because goal setting. Most people don't know what a goal is. Some people think that a dream is a goal. There's a very big difference between having a dream of something and actually having a goal. So to break down that difference, let's start with what a goal is. Let's define it. So this is my definition. I don't have a phone out or, Wikipedia up, but a goal is something that is obtainable. A goal is a end plan that you have certain steps to get there. It's an actual obtainable thing, not just a dream of something you want. It's here's what I'm going to have and here's how I'm going to get there.
So you can have high dreams, but what he's trying to say too is like making them realistic too, and how can we create like actionable items to create these dreams into an actual reality goal.
Small steps to make it to the bigger picture.
With that, I just want to bring an example, because I know I have a lot of friends who always ask, I want to get into real estate, and their first goal is, how can I make $100,000 or six figures in real estate in my first year?
Oh gosh, I love this example. So let's break this down. So Gabby's friend comes up to her and says, I want to make six figures in real estate. That's my goal. My first answer should be, that's not your goal. That's not a goal. There is nothing tangible or obtainable about the statement, I want to make six figures in real estate. So let's make a goal out of this.
Let's break it down.
Yeah. So $100,000 a year, and right, that's the six figures. To break that down monthly, that's about $8,300 a month. So now let's break it down even further. So let's say you're a newer agent. We're going to assume that your average commission's a little bit lower. So let's say that takes 2 deals to make $8,300 a month in income. So your actual goal isn't to make six figures in real estate. That's your dream. Your goal is to do 2 deals a month.
So now that we know our new goal, our broken down goal,
the real goal.
Yeah, we want to talk about how we can meet that goal too. So you can break it down even further. So one way that you can do that is by lead generation. Let's just say we're cold calling here, and let's just also say that 200 cold calls equals 1 closed transaction. Mm-hmm. So if you need 2 deals a month, you're going to need to make 400 cold calls that month. Let's break it down even further, because that number sounds intimidating. So you're going to need to do 100 calls a week. And then break it down a step further. You could do 14 calls a day. But how you can incorporate balance into that is you don't have to do this every single day. As long as you meet that 100 call for your week, you can interchange what days.
Exactly. Like, let's say we have date night on Friday and we don't have to leave a little early. Maybe we do 50 calls on Monday and we only save, 3 or 4 for Friday. But the point is, we found a dream to make 6 figures. We realized that's not the goal. The goal is actually 2 deals a month.
Yes.
And then we broke down the small steps on how to obtain that. Well, we need to make 14 calls a day. And, whether that's, 14 calls spread out evenly, or if it's more calls in the beginning or end of the week.
Yeah.
You'll see your schedule, what you have to do, and you'll make sure no matter what, you're getting those 14 calls a day throughout the week,
Yeah, and just schedule this with your personal life, and you can make it flexible, and that's how you're going to incorporate balance into it.
Exactly. So I hope that helped, that not every dream's a goal. A goal is only an actual thing when you break down how to obtain it.
Yes, I want to make sure you're still dreaming big, but let's make them obtainable.
Exactly. Have your dreams, but not every dream's a goal.
All right. And then I think that this transitions well into our real estate topic, which is just the timelines and schedules.
Yes. So The timelines of real estate.
So if you ask your local real estate agent, they're going to say the best time to buy is now, but we just want to educate you on just some typical real estate norms throughout the year so you can determine when the best time to buy for you and your family is.
Yeah, so, it's weird when I say this, but it's true. Real estate is a seasonal job. It's a seasonal business. Now, it's not like a landscaper or someone who does asphalt where it's very clear the grass only grows in the summer, right? But it still is seasonal. So there are two main markets when it comes to time of year. There's the spring and summer market, which typically starts around the time of the Super Bowl. So those of you who aren't sports fans, that's, the end of February. And it ends, September, October, really after
kind of when school starts. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the fall and winter market, vice versa. It starts right after the school begins, and it goes all throughout the holidays until, that end of February mark.
Yeah. So let's get into the spring and summer market because that's a little bit more fun.
Yes, let's start with the fun stuff.
Okay. The spring and summer market is just way more active. A lot it maybe has to do with how nice it is outside.
Yeah, exactly. It is the busier time for real estate, spring and summer. After, end of February, March, April hits, we start getting busier. And one reason is because schools are out, right? So people, especially families, they like to move and relocate around their school schedule. Nobody likes to yank their kids out of school in the middle of the year. It's bad for their education, their friendships, their mental health. So a lot of people will start their house search so that they can close in the summer when the kids aren't in school. And they want to close before September so that their kids can start up fresh.
Yeah. And pretty much everyone has this mindset who has a family. So that's going to create more listings on the market. And I have to say, even though it happens every year, it's still really uplifting every single time just because of the fact that, sometimes there's a winter drought and it's just seeing those, MLS listings come up on the market. It gives you that hope for your clients.
Yeah, it can, because the same client that's been looking that may see one listing every month, now they're seeing this and that and that.
Yeah.
It certainly can be uplifting.
Creates more options.
Yeah, but I do have to drive the devil's advocate here.
Yep.
Not only does the spring market bring more listings, it also brings more buyers. So there's a lot of buyers who may have been on the sidelines during the winter. They all wait for the spring and summer to come out of the woodworks too. So although there are more houses to bid on, there are also more people out there bidding on these houses.
You're going to deal with that competition aspect of it. You're just going to be competing with everyone now. And with that, the sellers can typically get a higher price for their home sale.
Yeah, a lot of people do wait to list their house in the spring because there is a notion out there that they'll make a little bit more for it in the spring market because of the amount of buyers that come in.
The influx there, yeah.
A lot of people will wait. Not that it's always true, but that is typically the norm what people try when they're selling their house.
So my solution to this, I can only speak for myself, I just move quick. And I know sometimes you want to give your clients the time to think it through, but I always level set and just say, hey, this is going to go quickly, let's move.
Yeah, and you don't want to rush them, you don't want to be pressuring, but you have to set that notion up front.
Because you will lose it.
If you see a house you like, we have to act quick. This is me warning you now, so that way they know they have the expectations of it.
You need to be mentally prepared to put in an offer that day.
Exactly.
That's what I just level set beforehand.
So
now we'll get into the
summer.
Fall and winter.
Let's talk about the fall and winter market. So like we said, this typically starts after the kids get into school. We'll say around October time.
Yeah,
right?
early fall.
Yep, and this goes all throughout the holidays. Halloween, you have your Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. During all of this time, as you probably know, people are busier. This is the slow season. So one thing I want to message right off the jump is that this may be a great opportunity if you're a buyer without a family or kids.
Yeah.
There's going to be people bidding on houses with kids in the summer that when school starts, they're no longer in the market. So there's going to be a whole pool of potential buyers that are going to be waiting for school to end. So if you're a young couple or an older person looking to downsize, you don't have the kids in school to worry about, you may be able to find a better deal this time of year because some of your competition left the market.
Yeah, that could be more opportunity for you.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason why people just don't really want to look for a house at this time, I feel like, is just the holidays. The holidays is a huge thing. People are spending so much money for Christmas, Hanukkah, all the holidays. They're also going to be traveling, spending more time with family during this time. Who wants to look for a house during that time? That's a job in itself. And so is Christmas shopping.
Yeah, right? So with the shopping, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holiday you celebrate, It's, you know, it's expensive, so people aren't jumping out of their chairs as much that time of year to buy a house, but they're also just busier. Think about yourself during the holidays. You're traveling with family, you have Thanksgiving, three days later, it feels like.
True, forgot about Thanksgiving.
It's 3 weeks later, it's Christmas and Hanukkah. It just, people are busier, their houses are decorated.
Yeah.
They don't have as much incentive to sell that time of year. You know, on top of that, it's also just colder out. So it's human nature. We like to hibernate in the winter. You know, people like to get in and snuggle up throughout the winter. They don't want to be out looking at houses and moving.
So that's going to make sellers reluctant to sell their home at this time. They want to be baking cookies, setting up their Christmas tree. They don't want to be having people view their home right now.
Out of the house, exactly.
So with this, though, you can get more serious deals at this time.
Always opportunity.
If there's a house on the market, like, just know they probably need to move.
Yeah, so typically, not always, but when, you know, people are buying or selling in this time of year between the holidays, they're usually a little more serious.
Yeah.
There's usually a need to move instead of a want, and that's why they're listing at that time of year.
And with that being said, it's a little easier to negotiate a deal during this time.
Yeah, because in some situations, people have more of an incentive to close a deal. Like, they need to leave. It's not like the summertime where I see this all the time. People list their houses just to see how much they could get for it. And if they get a number that blows them away that they want, great, they'll accept the offer. But if they don't hit that, they don't accept any. I've seen this time in and time out. In the winter, that BS doesn't happen as much.
Yeah.
People that listed in that time usually need to get somewhere for one reason or another.
So there is potential to get a cheaper home value at this time.
Yeah, there's the opportunity to get a better deal from all that being said. You know, but on top of everything, though, in the wintertime, there is less selection.
So with all that being said, we just want to wrap up the rest of this episode.
Yeah, let's do the summation. The summer... Let's do the summation. This is the smart note. Oh, my God. So this is the summation.
Wait, what is that a word?
Summation is adding things
Summary?
together. So yes, summary, not summation. We're not
I
adding
don't
these
think
together.
that's a word.
This is the summary of everything. So you want to be a good communicator. You need to set...
You want to listen. You want to be a good listener, too.
Yeah. Listening and talking. You want to set realistic goals that are tangible. You could touch them. You know what they are and the steps to get there.
Making sure that you're adding actionable items to obtain these goals.
Yep, not just dreaming, actionable dreams.
And scheduling the actionable items so you can achieve these goals.
Yep. And then
smaller steps.
Yep. And then with real estate, we gave you a quick dive into the seasons. It is a seasonal business. Spring and summer are busier in the fall and winter, but there's excellent opportunity in both depending on your situation.
So I hope that gave you a little bit more insight of when a better time for you is to buy.
Awesome. So I think that about wraps it up for this week. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
All right. See you next week, guys. Bye.